Hello, welcome to Transformation Conversation. It is Coach Gail Benson, and I am here tonight. It is Wednesday night, and it is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm here ready for this conversation. I have been talking about this for at least a week now, so I hope you all are in here and ready to learn how to scale your business. I hope I have all of my seasoned business owners, my aspiring entrepreneurs, and our dedicated and committed professionals. You too can be a business owner. So come and get these gems that we are going to hear from business growth strategist Anita Larsen from LITA Coaching. It is going to be a phenomenal time tonight. I am so happy that you all are here. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us in the chat. And before we get started, I want to share with you all, I started a Instagram exclusive contest for anyone who joined in and posted their comments, tagged other business owners or professionals, and had them come in and join into the conversation. So I do want to share with you that we have a winner by a random raffle, and the winner for our $25 Target gift card is Odwike Nesbitt. So Odie, thank you for your comments. Thank you for tagging other business owners and professionals to have them come in and join in the conversation. Thank you so much. I will touch base with you after our stream so that we can get your winnings to you. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you, Mrs. Jones. Thank you for coming in from Kentucky and Tennessee area. So without further ado, I want to dive into this conversation because I am as excited about it as you are, because I am learning so much from our expert. So I want to bring to you, with no further delay, our business growth strategist from LITA Coaching, Anita Larsen. Hi, Anita. Thank you. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited, and I'm excited to talk to you and your community and just share what I can, and hope that it inspires somebody to start a business or grow their business or helps them in some way. That's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. You know, Anita, I'll tell you, when you and I first had the discussion, and I'm going to be very brief, I learned so much in that short period of time that we were talking, and I'm still eager to learn so much more. So I am so excited about tonight. Even myself, I've been in business, I think since 2008, formally in business with all of my records and structure in place since 2019. So that's a long time to be haphazard. And even after all of that time, Anita, you shared so much knowledge and information with me. I'm excited for everyone to hear from you and learn and absorb. So if you have a paper, a pad, a pen, this is noteworthy conversation. It is priceless gems to talk to an expert like Anita. So get ready, be ready to get engaged and be recharged and understand how to scale your business. So what I'll do now, Anita, is let you, I'll put you on the main stage and you can start your conversation, because I have my notepad over here and I too will be beginning to take notes. I'm going to be watching the comments and I'll be highlighting them. So if we have any questions, there will be a Q&A after the dialogue. We'll have about 10 minutes of Q&A afterwards. So make sure you have your questions ready for Anita. So Anita, the stage is yours.
Well, thank you. And yeah, please feel free to jump in at any time if any other questions come up, or, I don't want to sit there and just take over your show and talk. So jump back in whenever you want.
Absolutely.
Just a brief introduction. So I'm Anita Larsen. My company is LITA Coaching. I've been coaching for 4 or 5 years now, but before I started coaching, I was in marketing for 25 years. I was in management, marketing operations. I had my own consultancy for a few years, and decided that I wanted to make a greater impact, because what happens a lot of times is when business owners are ready to invest in their business and invest in marketing, that's when all the other areas in their business are exposed. It's not quite where it should be. Maybe you are not quite set up to for the fulfillment yet. Maybe you don't have your sales process down. Maybe you don't have the skills or the resources in place yet. And working in marketing, I couldn't really address all these other areas. I could focus only on the marketing piece, and you can't get that piece working right unless everything else around it is working. So that's why I moved into coaching, and I love it. I love the impact I have in small business owners and helping them grow their business, helping them, a lot of times, helping them just being that objective voice, steering them in the right direction, somebody they can brainstorm with, and help with some structure in their business. So when Gail and I talked about this, I asked her, what do you want me to talk about? She suggested we talk about financials, because I think as business owners ourselves, that's something that we tend to forget when we go into business for ourselves. And we're so excited about what we're going to do to service our clients and service our customers. We tend to forget that we also have to serve our business. And with that, there is a lot of numbers and metrics and things like that you may not know until you get into the business world. So we're going to talk about a few key financial topics. We're going to try to make it fun and easy to understand, and make sure you kind of take away practical tips that you can either use when you start a business, or you can apply it in your business. But at the end of the session, I'm going to also offer you a free resource, 7 key numbers that could make or break your business. And we're going to talk about those 7 numbers today, so you can take that resource back with you and refer to after our conversation. So just kind of diving back into business, I will tell you one of my mistakes. I will own up to my mistake. When I first started a business, I got hit with taxes so hard. I did not even think about paying quarterly taxes. The fact that I'm now responsible for all my taxes, there's no employer to take my taxes out of my paycheck. So yes, I got major hit with taxes. So keep that in mind. That was my biggest financial learning, I think, when I first went into business for myself. And I'm sure everybody that has started a business has a financial story. So I want to start with the basics. I'm going to start with the P&L, and we're going to break it down. Some of you can be very familiar with it, and some of you don't know what a P&L is or what it stands for. P&L is profit and loss. It's a profit and loss statement, and it's really a snapshot of the financial health of your business. It's really crucial for managing your finances, because it will tell you the financial standing of your business. And not only that, you're also going to be required to have that in place if you're going to apply for grants, if you're going to apply for business loans, anything, that you would have to get resources for to help you in your business. A P&L is going to be required. So you need to get to know a P&L. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm actually going to do a quick review of a P&L and just put in numbers and show you how a P&L works. So I'm going to share my screen. I created a quick little calculator, and we'll just look at it quickly, and we're going to see what these numbers mean and how you use them. Thank you, Gail. So the first number in your P&L is your revenue. So the revenue is all the income that you get, basically. It's your sales. So say if you make, I'm just going to put in random numbers here, make them easy, $100,000 a year. Then you have the next one, cost of goods sold. This is where it gets a little confusing. Cost of goods sold, some people also call it a variable cost. It's the cost that varies based on your sales. So it could be if you sell something based on commission, the commission you pay out, that's a cost that's based on your sales. Um, if you, I would say for myself, I send out a member kit to my clients when I first engage with them. So the cost for me to put together the items in the member kit, that's a variable cost because it's based on how many clients I have to send it to. So if that makes sense, that's what this number is. So depending on your business, this number is not usually that high unless you're like in manufacturing or you or production where you spend a lot of money to produce something that you then sell to your client, right? So I'm going to put here $10,000 in cost of goods sold. So that means this number, this percentage, that's my gross profit margin. This is the money I make, or this is the percentage. This is the money I make, the gross profit, 90,000. So that's the percentage I'm left with after my cost of goods sold is taken out. So now we're down to from 100,000 to 90,000. Then you have your expenses. And your expenses, a lot of people also call them fixed costs. So you have a variable cost and your fixed costs. Overhead is another term for it. And this is going to be all your other expenses. It could be your payroll. It could be your office rent. It could be vehicles, any assets you use in your company, all your software, your laptops, your anything you use every day in your business. It could be all your subscriptions, all your training, those types of costs. So any other expenses in your business that is not related to the sales you do, the number of clients and customers you have. They're just your expenses for operating a business, period. Right? So that's usually higher. So I'm going to put this at, say, 20,000. So now your net profit is 70,000. Your net profit margin. So what is the percentage that you are left with at the end of the day is 70%. So this is actually really good. This is a great profit margin. Now, this is something that you can look at as realistic if you have a business from home where you don't have a lot of overhead, you don't have a lot of expenses. Now, if this was a business with a lot more overhead, again, if it's a store or a retail shop, something like that, these numbers will be very different. So say 30,000 in cost of goods sold and another 40,000 in expenses, and even a 30% profit margin could be a good profit margin for that type of business. So one of my biggest pet peeves is when I go online and I see all the gurus and they say, we're going to help you make six figures. Okay, well, six figures, yes. Okay, so they might help you get to 100,000. That doesn't mean that you're going to be left with 100,000. If your profit margin is 50%, you're still only going to be left with half of that. It's not actually a six-figure business if it's your revenue that's six figures. Now, a six-figure business, you have to look at your bottom line number. If your six figures is in the bottom line, then that's a true six-figure business. So I wanted to talk about that first, and I hope that's helpful. That's just a really brief introduction of P&L. Gail, does that make sense? You're muted.
Absolutely, it does, because I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Anita, because there's a huge misconception about having a six-figure business.
Yes.
And even though you may be able to bring in revenue in six figures, it is what is your true profit. So this, breaking it down like this, Anita, brings me back to just general math. It's just really general math if we track our costs correctly. So that is something. This is something. Now, let me ask you this, Anita. I have a question in the comments. Is the 7 what did she say? The 7-7 tool, is that in the resource that you have that towards the end of the discussion?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that next. So I'll
Oh,
talk about the
okay,
7 key
okay,
metrics. So
okay,
I'm going to get to that next. I want to show you just
okay.
one more simple thing in the P&L, and this is how you can use it. Like again, the practical application of it, other than just having this snapshot and knowing how your business is
Right.
impacted every month. You should look at this every month, right? Now you can look at this and look at how can I try to increase this bottom line profit, because that's really all that matters is your profit. That's what you take home. So how can you consistently improve this bottom line profit? Okay, what if I bring in another $20,000 in revenue? So we have everything else is the same, but now I'm bringing in $20,000 more. Okay, so I increased my profit by 20,000. But did my cost of goods sold stay the same? No, it wouldn't, because it increases based on my sales, right? So if you increase your revenue, your cost of goods sold is going to increase. So if, let's say, you increase that a little bit. Okay, well, let's try to cut our overhead. Let's cut it down to 30,000. So now, okay, we're back to 55,000. So these are just ways that you can kind of play around and look at how can I grow the profit of my business? Is it enough for me to grow the revenue? Do I need to look at my costs on a regular basis and see where I can cut some costs, which is always a good exercise to do, because I also know that sometimes we tend to treat our business money like monopoly money. I'll just put it on the business card because I can deduct it later, but it's still money out of your pocket, at the time. So that's it. That's the P&L that I wanted to share with you. Now I want to dive into the 7 key metrics. And if anybody's confused, if I'm confusing anybody, please let me know and I will try to take a step back. Yes, that's absolutely true. This is information that a lot of business owners don't know, and it's a shame. I wish there was more education out there for somebody when they start a business. So let's talk about these 7 key metrics. This is what I talk to my clients about. First of all, how important it is to track metrics in your business. The P&L, that's your financials. That has to be done regardless. But in addition to that, there are other metrics that you want to keep an eye on to make sure that your business is going in the direction you want it to go. And I have 7 areas that is really important in your business that you should always know the status of and know how those areas impact each other. So I'm gonna bring up a handy little calculator again. I prepared these calculators before this meeting. I'm such a nerd. So sometimes that's a good thing. So you can share, Gail. So there's this calculator. I know it probably looks overwhelming at first, so I'm going to walk through it. So the 7 key metrics is, the first one is your number of leads. I'm not going to input anything yet. I just want to walk you through the 7 metrics. The first one is your leads. Any business that want to stay in business, they have to have a leads, right? Otherwise, how are you going to get clients if you don't have any leads? So that's your first step. How many leads do you have? The second step is your conversion rate to the next step in your sales process. So sometimes your next step from a lead could be having a meeting scheduled with them, doing a presentation for them, putting together a proposal, whatever that next step is in your business. That's the conversion rate to that next step. The next metric is your closing rate. So that's when you close them as a customer, client, you close a new sale. Then another one that is hugely important and people don't pay enough attention to is retention. So keeping your existing customers, making sure they're happy and they stay with you, because it's always easier to keep an existing customer than gain a new one, right? And then we go into your average dollar per sale. What is your average dollar per sale for your products or your service? Then it's your frequency of sales, which is how often does a customer come back to you to purchase? and then keeping your cost low. So this is variable and fixed cost, like we just talked about. So lumping them together. So keeping your cost low. So these are your 7 metrics: your leads, conversion rate to the next step, your closing rate, your retention, average dollar per sale, frequency of sales, and cost. So let's look at how these numbers impact each other. So we're going to put in numbers for again, random numbers for a business here. So say a business have 100 leads in 100 leads in a year. Their conversion rate to the next step is 50%, which that would be really good. That's a great conversion rate to the next step. They get to the meeting or proposal step, and at that point, they close 30% of those people as clients. 30% is the conversion rate to close you should shoot for. That's a good rate to close. So now they went from 100 leads to 15 new clients. They have an additional 20 clients already on the book. That's their existing customers. So that means now they have a total of 35 customers that they service, right? Say they have a service-based business. Their clients pay them monthly. Their average dollar per sale for their service is $1,000. And because their clients pay them monthly, that means their frequency of sales would be 12 times in a year, right? So their total revenue is $420. That's what they get in from all their sales in the span of a year. So then we gotta reduce that with their variable and their fixed costs. So say again, if the variable cost is roughly 10%, let's say $40,000, and the fixed cost probably around $100,000. Again, I'm just making up numbers here, so don't hold me to this, guys. So at the end of the day, they're left with a net profit of $280,000. Now, you probably saw some of the other numbers fill in here as we went. So we're going to look at what if we could increase each of these 7 metrics by just 10%, or 6 metrics by 10%, and reduce the cost by 10%. So now you saw this fill in, and we did the 10% scenario. All of these numbers impact each other. If you increase your leads and you convert more people, then you're doubling, right? If you just increase the leads, you wouldn't get as big of an impact if you kept the same conversion rate. But you're increasing your leads and your conversion rate, so they're all impacting and building on each other. So although you increased each of these metrics by 10%, your profit actually increased by 72%. So now you have almost $500,000 profit just by a 10% increase in all these 7 metrics. And if you want to really work on it, 10% should be pretty easy. You can come up with business room, we can talk about that as well. But if you want to really work on it, say you want to get a 25% increase in each of these numbers, now you're almost a 7-figure business, and it's true profit. So that makes it a real 7-figure business, almost $1 million, 229% increase. So if you look at this, how difficult is it to increase your leads by 10% in a year? If you got 100 leads coming a year, that's less than 10 a month. So go to a couple of more networking events, do some outreach, and you can some collaborations, and you can easily increase your number of leads by 10%. That should be pretty straightforward. How can you increase your conversion rate to the next point by 10%? There's many ways of doing that. It all depends on what your process is, right? It could be just a personalized follow-up, making sure you're following up with your leads better than you were in the past. You put together a better follow-up process. And then how do you close them as clients? Well, this is your sales process. So now look at how do you handle their objections? How do you really showcase your true value to your customers? I'm sure you can tweak a couple of things in your sales process to easily increase that by 10%. If you're at 30%, you'd only have to increase it to 33%, right? It's not that big of a gap. Now, your retention, there are obviously ways we can increase retention. Keep your customers happy, provide excellent service, great customer support, communicate with your customers regularly, and let them know that you appreciate them. Then we have your average dollar per sale. So there's a few ways you can do that. Again, it all depends on your business. It could be that you offer an additional new service or a new product that you're adding to your lineup. So now you have more things to sell them. Making sure you have good cross-selling opportunities. Make sure you try to upsell them to other products when you can. And then the frequency of sales, how often do they come back to you? That is kind of goes in the same way we just talked about your average dollar per sale. Same thing, make sure that you encourage those repeat purchases. Like you could even put in place a loyalty program, or maybe you now put in place a subscription model that you didn't have before. Things like that just have them coming back for more. Lowering cost. I mean, this is one of the easier ones that people don't do enough. Just really take a look at your billing statements every month. Go through it line item by line item. Is this, and I always tell my clients, ask yourself these 3 questions. Is this expense necessary for me to get a client? Is it necessary for me to keep a client? And is it necessary for me to increase my client's lifetime value? If you can't answer yes to one of those 3 questions, it's probably not something you need. So do that on a regular basis and just be kind of hard with yourself. And don't hesitate to reach out to your vendors. Negotiate your internet service, negotiate, deliveries, whatever you have, negotiate on a regular basis. So keep that in mind. This is really key for your business. Know these numbers and use it as a guide to grow your business. Look at, okay, this month I want to focus on my leads so I can impact my conversion rate next month, and keep track of it. What are you doing? What efforts are you, what impact are you seeing with the efforts you're putting into place? So that was a lot of numbers talk, I know. So I will stop it there. Let's see. There you go. Thank you.
That was a lot of numbers, Anita, but very important numbers. And the last thing that you mentioned about cutting our cost. And I will tell you, if you can tell us a little bit about how many business owners who spend money that they don't need. They'll watch something or they'll get some advice. And so do you see a large number of entrepreneurs just with a lot of waste when it comes to spending money for their businesses that probably really don't need these things?
Yeah, 100%. And another pet peeve of mine, if I may, is really just the times we're in now. It's very easy for people to start new businesses and doing things from home, which is great. But at the same time, it does open the floor for people that may not be as qualified as they should be. And I have so many of my clients have been taken advantage of, where they've been sold products and services by a consultant or coach at times. It's been sold products that they didn't need, that were more expensive what they had. And at times they lost business assets, like they lost their website, they lost their databases because of these recommendations, where it's really recommended because the consultant is making an affiliate fee, from the sales they have, which by all rights they should if they have these great relationships. But it's the ethics behind it. Make sure that what you're saying yes to is something you really need, not just because somebody says it's bigger and better and probably also more expensive. It's not always what's necessary at the level you are in your business, and it may not be what's good for the type of business you have. So, although it's being recommended to you, just be careful, still vet these platforms. And I think that's where we're wasting the most right now. It's online tools and platforms. How many
Absolutely.
tools and platforms do we use every day, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
We have, it's just so much access, now, and we have access to so much information, but very little understanding of what we truly need.
Mhm.
Is it going to impact or even have any type of growth in our business? And unfortunately, I was guilty of that. I joined the webinar, and it was this great thing, and I started, following, and I started getting all this information, and I'm like, wow, that sounds great. 6 figures. Oh, I got to do that.
Right.
But the stage that I was in my business, the tool was not for me.
Yeah.
But that's not explained to you how you have to do things in stages and in phases, because some
Mhm.
of the things that I was being offered at the onset of my entrepreneurship was for someone already making 6 figures, not for someone aspiring to have
Mhm.
6 figure revenue. Well,
Exactly.
excuse me, a 6 figure profit, because there's
Right.
a difference between having 6 figure revenue and having 6 figure profit. So thank you
Mhm.
for showing us that in the P&L, because I think a lot of times that's misunderstood, and a lot of us are even I'm thinking about myself when I came into being a business owner. 6 figures seems so far off from me.
It sounds
At
amazing,
one
right?
time, yeah, you just like I'm just trying to get to $10,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But you still have to give the same time and attention to the 5,000, the 10,000, the
Mhm.
20 to get you to the 100,000, to get you to the
Mhm.
250,000. So this is why it is so imperative to have someone like Anita, who is very well versed, has proven strategies that will show us how to be responsible, and success, and be successful in keeping record of our business and growing our business. So I do have a question from my IG community, Anita, about,
Mhm.
and you have a background in marketing, and
Yeah.
one of the questions is, what is one of the key strategies for online marketing? And I know that's a pretty vast question, but if you could pinpoint one thing that people should, and then one thing that maybe people shouldn't do, because I think with all of this DIY marketing with social media and things like that,
Mhm.
there's a bit of a web that we get caught up in.
Yeah, and not only that, but if you look at online advertising and social media, and it's gotten so expensive compared to what it used to be with less return. So it is difficult. But so I'm not even going to go in that direction. When you say what is the key strategy for online marketing, is really you have to go back to foundations and make sure you really know what you're saying and who you're saying it to. That's the
Hmm.
key. It's not even so much where you are. It doesn't matter where you are if you're not clear with your messaging and you're not clear with your customer or who your customer is. So make sure you have an ideal customer profile. Make sure you are very clear on who you are servicing. Who is your person? Give that person a name, an age, a location. Make that person like real to you. Find a picture and put up of that person if that helps you. Put on your wall. That's my person. And design your messaging to that person. Who is this person every day? What am I going to say that resonates with this person? What does this person do on the weekends? How is their shopping behavior? Where does she shop? What is she worried about? What is, and this is key as well, what is the number one problem this person has on their mind that I can help this person with? How can I help them? And what problem am I solving for them? If you don't know that, you are just throwing your money out the window, because you're throwing your money everywhere. And the biggest pushback I get from clients when I say this is that I don't want to sell to just this person. I have so many people I can service. Of course, we're not saying don't service these other people, but you have to focus your time, your effort, and your money in one direction. Otherwise, you're just throwing it out the window and hoping somebody will grab it, right? Versus throwing it down a funnel right in the lap of the person that's waiting for you to help them. Everybody else that's meant to be with you, they're going to come to you. But this person, that's your person that you need to speak to. So that's the key. I know you probably wanted to hear, you should be in this channel, you should do this right now, this is the trend. No, it doesn't matter what the trend is. If you don't know what you're saying and who you're saying it to, don't do it. It's that simple. Or not that simple. It's not simple.
Very right. Very simple, concrete, foundational advice. And I will also just chime in and piggyback off of that, Anita, and say, we should not be afraid to focus in on our niche, on our people. Your voice and your light, whatever your gift and your power is, it's going to be magnetic. It's going to draw your people to you. And once you have your community, you have to be true to that community. If you seem like you're all over the place and you're just not really sure with your message, it's that like, know, and trust factor. They like you, they're already following you, they're getting to know you, and they have to be able to trust you and what you're saying, because people want to feel like they're belonging to something. So if you're saying, I service women from ages 40 to 65, and I help them, focus in on their strategies and start life anew and transform into their next best lives, because that's a part of my motto, and that is what I help women do. But when you say that, and then they see you talking to a 30-year-old man saying that you're going to help him too, the trust factor is out the window. So when Anita says, you be clear on who you're talking to and what you are saying to them, because you want to make sure that you are consistent with your message and you are committed to your group. Do not be afraid to commit to your community. And because I know a lot of people maybe feel like they might miss out on something because they feel like they're excluding a group of people. But understand, your business, it will not be for everyone. You have to find out who you can help and what is the problem that you can solve for them, because you won't reach everyone. Your gift is not for everyone. There's a specific group of people that are waiting for you. So when you meet them, you have to be clear on your message to get them to say, I want to use your service. I want to buy your product. So Anita, thank you for sharing that, because a lot of times new business owners, just like Lavonda Key mentioned, she says so much information, for her as a first-time business owner. This is the foundation where you should start. You can start with a business growth strategist. You can get started with Anita Larsen at any point in your business. Had I known of Anita Larsen when I got started, I would have built my foundation with her to ensure that I was doing it properly. And just like Mrs. Jones mentioned about not even knowing that she had to pay quarterly taxes or report it, even if she didn't make a dime, because those are some of the pitfalls that we get tangled up in. And it doesn't present itself to you till later down the line. And those penalties grow and grow and grow. So we want to make sure that we have a strong and a clear foundation when we are starting, growing, developing our business. So
the thing is, you don't know what you don't know. It's that simple. And it's, I think every business owner treats their business like it's their baby. And sometimes it's hard to admit that there's something wrong with your baby. right? You don't want to
Right.
hear
If your
that.
baby's sick, you go to the
Yes,
doctor. You
right.
go
You
to
don't
the
want anybody else to
pediatrician.
point that out.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you can't have an ego in business. You know, if you want your business to be successful, you have to be open to the feedback. You have to be able to look at it objectively and find ways to make it better. It's that simple.
Awesome. So, Anita, I want to ask you one last question, and it looks like we are going to be on time tonight. How can attendees find out more about your services?
Yeah, so first, I know that you have the link to the resource, the 7 key metrics resource. So you will share that with your community. And then I know,
Yes.
like, who was it, Lavanda, that said it's a lot of information, it's overwhelming. Hopefully, that will help. You can take it away and sit down with it and, take your time with it instead of trying to figure it out all out right now while we're live. So Gail will share that. And then I do want to share a program that I have coming up where I'm actually doing an 8-week group coaching program called Business Financials 101. So it is for those of you that are thinking about starting a business or that have started but realize you need a little more detail, or you need to learn a little more about financials. You didn't consider that when you first started, or you just want to dive into a little more, even if you feel like you're familiar with it. So, if I can share a little bit about that, I'm going to share my screen again. Find the right screen to share. Great, thank you. So this is the Business Financials 101, and you get a hands-on implementation workshop so you can implement what we're learning immediately in your business. There'll be a video training going out every week. There'll be step-by-step worksheets for you to fill out. It will be 8 weeks, so 8 weekly sessions, an hour per week. So you'll view the video, you'll do the worksheets. We'll get together once a week and we'll go through any questions you had from that lesson, any practical implementation on how this works in your specific business. I will be there with you, obviously, and we'll be doing this together. And it will be on Zoom, so no travel required. And it will be in a group setting, which I think is great because that gives you that opportunity to connect with other business owners that are dealing with the same things you are, and you can make those connections and learn from each other as well. And in addition to that, I will be doing what we call a Pathway to Profit business assessment. And that's basically a 90-minute assessment of your specific business to find areas where you could improve with a financial impact. So increase your revenue and continue to grow. So we'll do that together. I'll have weekly office hours for any questions that come up throughout the week. You'll get access to all the recordings for a full year. And there will be, you saw a couple of my calculators today. There'll be templates and calculators that you can keep and apply in your business as well. So all of that, the actual program is $997. The 90-minute assessment is actually something that I sell to my clients. So it's a value of $29.97. And then, of course, you get the other bonuses as well. I didn't really put a value on that, except the templates and calculators. Those have a value, obviously, at $497. So altogether, that's a total value of $44.91. And because this is Gail's great community, I promised her I was going to offer you a special deal. So it's $797 for the 8-week program. And if you would like to join or want to learn more about it, Gail has a link to my calendar. So schedule a 15-minute meeting and I can answer any questions you have about the program, or we'll just sign you up and get you started and figure out the financials in your own business. So
wonderful.
That's it.
Anita, that is priceless. That is amazing for the amount of work, time, and attention that they get individually.
Yes.
I will tell you as as a coach, and to get that one-on-one, that individual time, that is That is a huge gem. I thank you so much for offering that discount, and not in the value of what you're offering them. It is priceless. And if you have any questions about your business, if you're aspiring to be a business owner, if you're seasoned and you've been around for a while and you know there's something different needs to happen and you're not sure what, please reach out to Anita Larsen, the business growth
Mm.
strategist from LITA Coaching. Her information is just constantly scrolling through the ticket banner at the bottom of the screen. She's on IG at LITA Coaching, and you can visit her website, capital LITA coaching.com. I've posted her links and her information in the comment. If you have any wrap up questions for Anita, we have about 7 minutes to yeah, we have about 7 minutes to answer any questions that I could highlight in the chat for Anita to answer for you. I know for myself, Anita, I do have one question, and a lot of
Mm.
times we hear mentioned and people say talk about key performance indicators and
Yeah.
KPIs, and most times I know when I started my business, I didn't know what KPIs were. So can you give us a little education
Yeah.
about KPIs and what we need to do with them?
Yeah. So KPIs are your key performance indicators. Like you said, that's what it stands for. And those 7 key metrics that I showed you, for most businesses, those could be your KPIs. It's really depending on what you do in your business, you need to sit down and figure out. And I mean, honestly, I would recommend those 7 metrics for anybody, but there could be additional ones that you want to keep an eye on as well. You need to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what are the numbers that move your business. What are the numbers that are most important to your business? I'm just throwing out examples. If you're a social media influencer and that's your business, that's what you do for a living, your KPIs are going to be number of followers, your engagement rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are going to be key numbers for your business because the higher the number of followers and the larger the engagement rate is, the more the advertisers and collaborators are going to pay you to be an influencer on their behalf, right? So that's some examples. But those 7 key metrics you went through, those are really good examples of KPIs. Your number of leads, your closing rate, your conversion rate, your average dollar per sale, your frequency of sales, retention rate, and then your cost, keeping your costs down. But like I said, it could be different ones depending on the type of business you're in.
Great, great. Thank you for sharing that. And that is information. It's information like that that is going to be very valuable to you in your business. So please use the link to schedule time. With Anita. There's a link for scheduling a 15-minute call with her uh, to figure out what's the best way to move forward with your business. We all hear 6 figures, 7 figures, and that's good. We want to bring that revenue in, but we want to profit. We want to profit
Yes.
6 and 7 figures, and we want to do things the right way because when it's time for those quarterly taxes to be done, we want to make sure that not only are we doing it correctly, but if we're bringing people along with us and that
Mhm.
we are being a light and a mentor to however you're sharing your business and your services. If you're worried about your business, it's going to show in your service and how you approach people. You don't want to be anxious. You don't want to seem distracted or worried. What you want to do is be confident that you have taken the proven steps to scale your business and do it properly and to be successful. Anita,
Yeah.
I am so thankful that you took the time to join us tonight. KWE Essential says, thank you so much, Anita. This was great information, and I hope you all enjoyed it and received some edification tonight. It's so much so that you will schedule time with her on her calendar to have these phone calls. And another thing I will share with you is one thing Anita mentioned is about get out there with your business, network. If you're doing business and you're providing a service, be confident in what you're doing. Be confident in your business. Get out there, talk to people. Yes, it's good to be present on social media, but get out in the world, network. I am hosting monthly networking events. If you are in Central Florida, even if you're not and you happen to be here or you just want to come down to Orlando, Florida. I am hosting a networking event on June 29th at 1 p.m. Please go and text. I'll put the information in the chat where you can text the word brunch and get the link to register and join us on Saturday, June 29th. We host women. Women get to know each other. We exchange information. We're in the very beginning stages of trying to support other initiatives and have an impact in Central Florida. And I will share with you that is how I met the lovely Anita Larsen. Anita came to my April networking event, woman to woman networking event. I am the Orlando chapter leader. She came to the event and it has been a joy meeting her and getting to know her. And we are looking forward to continuing to establish our business relationship and continue to bring other people in. That's what networking is about. When you
Yeah.
see people and you find people that may need your help, help them, point them in the right direction. Join us at one of our networking events. I will put it here in the chat so that you can sign up to register. You must be registered to come to this exclusive event. You will have access to other women business owners and their knowledge. We exchange information. We are working to have a huge impact in Central Florida, and I hope that you would take the step to join us. If you're shy about meeting people, start with us at a networking event and get used to talking to people, because if you're not confident in your business and the service that you provide, no one's going to know, like, and trust you if you are not confident in what you do. So
And
thank you
I will
everyone.
say, I will testify that Gail is an excellent host, and I'm so glad I went to that event. And I will be at the next one as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita. I am just so ecstatic and so happy that we met. And I know this is just the beginning of something beautiful and just coming together as women in our sisterhood and bonding and sharing and figuring out, strategizing and learning how to grow together, because you will find that you have more in common than not. So
Yeah.
come together, join us, meet us at the table on June 29th. Please reach out to Anita. I am going to paste her link for you to schedule a 15-minute call with her and learn how to scale your business. Don't be afraid of success. It's just around the corner if we do the right thing and take the right steps. If you want to take a step in the right direction, please reach out to Anita Larsen, business growth strategist from LITA Coaching. Anita, if you had anything you wanted to say in closing, the floor is yours.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you to the wonderful community. And thanks for the questions, great questions. And hope that I was able to provide some clarity. And, coming from
Yeah.
somebody, what you said just really resonated with me, Gail. And you said you have to put your business out there. Because personally, I was so afraid to do that when I first started as well. I'm like, I don't want to talk to my friends and family about it. This is my thing. I'm just going to keep it here. You have to put it out there. You got to make yourself uncomfortable to be able to be successful.
Absolutely. Let's just debunk the comfort zone, because we can't meet people or grow our business being comfortable. And that feeling of discomfort is growth. Embrace the growth. When you grow, your business will grow. When you become more confident in your business and your services, your business will grow. You will reach more people, and you may be one of those people to see that six-figure profit number at the bottom of your in
Yes,
their
you
worksheet.
all will.
It is 7:59 p.m. on Wednesday. This has been amazing, Anita. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Come back and see us next week. If you have not already, please like and subscribe to this thing so you can know when we come on live. Next week, I am going to have the one and only Lavonda Key for Loved Ones Lost. She is writing her book, and it is going to teach you a lot about learning how to walk through the grief process. So join us next week. We will see you then. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. It has been a pleasure, and never forget that I love you. Bye. Take care.